I'll be marching up this gangway today, no matter what. Someone has to stop that damn bomber before he endangers more people. Constable Oliver seems to be a little simplistic. But I don't think he's a bad policeman. The way he reacted in the tunnel and got the train moving. Hats off. Amazing how much luggage there is for so few passengers. And I'd guess that 3/4 of it belongs to the women. Fine car, but nothing compared to the young lady who owns it. Who could she be? An actress? A millionaire's daughter? She's certainly attracting a lot of attention. I'll take an inconspicuous look up close.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting anyone to be crawling around on the ground in front of my door.
Don't worry about it, miss. No harm done.
Oh, that's good to hear, Mr.
Zellner. Anton Jakob Zellner. May I ask your name?
Patricia Mayers.
Are you American?
I am. Could you help me, please?
Certainly. Are you on your way to Egypt?
Yes.
Are you on holiday?
My father works for a railroad company there.
And is rebuilding the country after the war. Wonderful.
Yes. Wonderful. One more.
You're lucky to have a father who takes you to so many interesting places.
Oh, yes. Lucky me.
Aren't you interested in Egypt? The pyramids, the history.
I would have been more interested in a father who doesn't travel 300 days a year.
I'm sure your father regrets that he can't always be with you.
No doubt. And I'm sure he always wanted the best for me. But that doesn't stop him from thinking only about himself far too often. Bring my luggage on board, please.
Excuse me?
It was a pleasure meeting you, Constable Zellner.
Impertinent. Is the doctor afraid to board the ship? Hello, Dr. Gebhardt.
Ah, the hero of the hour.
The hero of the hour, but out of work soon.
Oh, you won't be a policeman anymore?
Yes, but on my old beat, which is almost as good as being out of work.
I understand. On the contrary, I wasn't sure whether I made the right decision until now. I'm from the Black Forest, you know. There are only mountains there, no ships. But now, the salty breeze, the atmosphere, I think I want to stay at sea forever.
The sea is one thing, the passengers are another.
It will be okay.
What do you know about the Baroness?
Nothing really.
Did you talk to her in the tunnel?
No. Her butler was looking after her, and I was busy with Miss Miller. As you can imagine, it was a shock for her to see her son rolling away on a burning train.
That's understandable.
So, we were all glad when we heard about your brave deed.
Have you already met the captain?
Mario Di Conti. Heard of him?
Should I have?
He is something of a star in Italy. A war hero. In the First World War, when he was a young man, he sank more enemy ships than anyone else. In the Second World War, well, he had some personal problems.
You mean like the ones you buy in bottles and pillboxes?
Yeah, you could say that. Anyway, sending him into combat was out of the question. They gave him a supply ship instead, and he became a hero again. His ship, part of a convoy from Palermo to North Africa, was the only one that made it, with an extra 100 seamen who he rescued from the other ships.
Impressive.
To say his health is rather shaky these days would be an understatement. I think most of my time on board will be spent dealing with his numerous ailments.
Well, there's nothing left for me to do but to wish you a good trip.
Oh, you are not coming with us?
Unfortunately, no. I'm to go back to Zurich.
What a pity.
Take care, Dr. Gebhardt. Keep an eye on the other passengers.
Oh, I just remembered. We found these in the tunnel. Are they yours?
I'm afraid so.
Strophantine, do you have heart problems? Maybe it's for the best that you're not coming along. Too much excitement could be bad for your health.
You mean if I don't do anything, I'll probably have a few more years to live?
That's right. Keep your chin up.
I don't want to run into Legrand before I have something new to report. Otherwise, he'll send me back to shore.
James? James! Where on earth are you?
Hello, Baroness.
Ah, Inspector.
Constable.
Poppycock. You won't be a constable much longer. When they find out how you rescued that little boy, they'll have to promote you to Inspector.
Very kind of you to say so, Baroness. I hope you survived the adventure in the tunnel unharmed.
Scandalous! You book a first-class cabin, and then you're walking on the rails. Huh. They wanted to bundle me off in a bus, without my luggage.
The circumstances, madam.
I insisted on a limousine and didn't leave until all my luggage was recovered.
Did you know that the real Eye of the Sphinx wasn't even on the train?
I had no idea. Inspector Legrand seems to prefer to keep me in the dark, although I'm the one paying for all of this.
The inspector is ensuring the safety of the Eye.
Well, obviously. All the same, it was you who did the real work on the train.
I hope that the remainder of your trip to Cairo will be less stressful.
You aren't coming with us?
I'm afraid Inspector Legrand doesn't want my company.
Fiddle-faddle! You found my purse, while he just sat on some boxes, guarding the bomb that nearly killed us all. I want you to come with us.
I'd like that as well, but...
I'll speak to the captain and bear the costs.
Baroness, I don't know...
No trouble. I'll see to it. Now, where's my damned butler? James, there you are. Is the inspector to carry my luggage onto the ship all by himself?
Well, actually... Baroness?
Baroness, can you hear me? She fainted.
No. No.
Baroness?
Again, harder.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Help me up.
Perhaps we should...
Now.
I'll get Dr. Gebhardt.
No, Doctor. Just a little moment of weakness. Your arm, James. Take me to the ship.
But of course, madam.
That was no moment of weakness. She saw something that shocked her, or someone. Very interesting, especially since she doesn't want to admit it. That's a fine automobile, but not even a stately sedan like this can handle all the Baroness's luggage. She was lucky that the second and third freight cars weren't buried in the tunnel. Most of her things made it unscathed. Who or what did she see? Neither of them seems to have noticed what happened down here. You'll have a tough time with her. How does one get aboard without a ticket? Not brilliant, but it's a possibility.
Oh, who do we have here? Signore...
This is Constable Anton Zellner.
Signore Zellner. I heard about your feats in the mountains. Welcome aboard the MS Lydia.
Thank you, Captain.
I didn't know you'd be taking part in the journey, but I'm glad to have you with us. I'll have a nice cabin prepared for you immediately.
The constable will not be joining us. He has other duties.
Oh, that's too bad. I would have loved to hear about his adventures from the man himself.
I'd like to accept your offer, but unfortunately, higher powers prevent it.
I am sorry to hear that. We are by no means full, and have plenty of room for one more passenger.
The constable just wants to have a quick look around and then leave before we set sail. When will that be?
Oh, in about 15 minutes.
There you have it, Constable.
May I ask how to get to the cargo hold?
Oh, signori, there are much nicer places on board.
But I'm interested in the cargo hold.
Why is that?
One of the trunks seems suspicious to me. Someone could be hidden in it.
You? You want to imply that the most brilliant and probably richest thief in all of Europe is stowing away in a trunk? That's not his style.
That's what makes it more likely that it's not him, but a copycat who's behind all this. And a copycat's style might include doing whatever it takes, like hiding in a trunk if they've lost the ticket.
Oh, come now.
Actually, it would be possible for a registered passenger to board the ship without a ticket.
What do you mean?
You can't buy a ticket for the Lydia at the counter. You book the trip in advance. We know the names of all the passengers. As long as a passenger is on the guest list, we let them board the ship. Doesn't matter if they have a ticket or not.
And did any of the passengers board without a ticket?
I couldn't say. We ask for a name and check it on the list. The tickets are no more than souvenirs for the passengers.
So much for your trunk theory.
Good news! The Baroness invited me to come along. And, as a private citizen, I'm pleased to accept. A holiday on the high sea. Magnificent.
Indeed, there's nothing finer.
Unfortunately, the constable is needed in Switzerland.
But, Inspector,
There is an investigation into his obstruction of Interpol operations.
I have a ticket, and I am...
Not coming along as long as I'm on board. End of discussion.
Regardless of what you say, I would still like to examine the cargo hold.
All right then, if you like. But we'll meet here again in 10 minutes. Captain De Conti, before we depart, I'd like to send 2 telegrams.
Certainly, Inspector. The cargo hold is over there. You can enter through a door on the forecastle. The horn will sound twice, 5 minutes before we set off. That's the signal for all the dock workers to leave the ship.
Understood, Captain.
Follow me to the bridge. You can send your telegrams from there.
My time is running out. If I don't find anything in the cargo hold, my cruise will be over before it even begins. Oh, no. Oh, what's this? Aha. If I go now, it's over for me. Legrand would be adamant that I leave the ship. I can't let it come to that. That's the young woman's cabriolet. Apparently they absolutely had to take it to Egypt. At Daddy's expense, of course. Hello? Come on out. The game's up. I'm opening the trunk. Hello? The shards are... Phew. I startled too easily. Ouch! Damned. Ah! It would be best if no one found out about this. There's some blood and hair stuck to the pipe. Hair I really can't afford to lose. I'll hold it on the blood-spattered end. After all, we already know who the victim is. I should be careful. The gunman may still be nearby.
What are you up to, Zelna?
I wanted to determine whether the gun had been fired recently, Inspector.
I mean, what are you doing on the ship?
I was jumped in the cargo hold.
Of course you were.
Here, look. Careful how you hold it. There could be fingerprints on the end.
Surely you don't expect me to believe you.
I was inspecting the trunk. I found it in the cargo hold, and it was clear that someone had hidden inside it to board the ship.
Some people are willing to go to great lengths to be a part of this journey.
Indeed. Whoever it was, they struck me on the head from behind with the pipe while I was looking for clues. Oh, and they shot at me as well.
Ridiculous. You wanted to come along, orders be damned, and so you found a way to stay here. I should throw you overboard.
I would have dreamed up something less painful.
True. That doesn't look good.
See? And there's a bullet wedged in a wooden crate down there. I don't have a gun.
The doctor should have a look at it. Come with me.
Inspector Legrand and Constable Zelna. So you have decided to join us on our journey after all.
So it would seem. We are searching for Dr. Gebhardt.
I'm just fine, Captain Conti.
The Conti.
I'm in control. I can manage. Tell James he absolutely must wake me at 10:15.
Certainly, madam.
Absolutely.
I shall see that he does.
And now I shall return to my chambers. You'll be in the bar tonight at 10, Inspector?
If that's what you wish.
It will be spectacular. I promise.
The fresh sea air, and perhaps a glass of champagne to many. But I'm glad that you decided to join us on our journey to Cairo.
Not quite voluntarily.
So he says.
I was jumped from behind.
But no, that is...
Dr. Gebhardt should have a look at him, Captain de Conti.
Of course. please, have a seat in the saloon, Constable Zelna. I'll summon the doctor. Ah, Doctor, there you are. Our brave Constable Zelna was attacked.
Struck on the head.
Oh. Sit down, please.
Now, please, tell me exactly what happened.
I think you've got a stowaway on board. I was jumped.
Intolerable. I'll have the crew search every nook and cranny of the ship. And of course, Mr. Zelna, you are cordially invited to travel as our special guest.
Good to know that at least one man doesn't want to throw me overboard.
Is it bad?
Yes, it hurts a lot.
I spoke with Dr. Gebhardt.
He suffered a violent blow to the back of the head. I cannot really say how bad it is.
But I can. It really hurts. Why didn't anyone come looking for me? Didn't anyone notice that I didn't come back from the cargo hold?
We did search for you, but we couldn't find you.
Who was supposed to search the cargo hold?
Constable Oliver. I'll have a talk with him about that later.
I should hope so.
How many fingers do you see?
I see 5 fingers. 3 of them stretched out.
Okay.
Where are we? And what time is it? I must have been out for ages.
It's just after 8 p.m.
You just missed dinner. But we'll all meet here in the saloon at 10 o'clock to have a drink together. Greeting the passengers personally is a tradition I will not break, even on this unusual journey.
You're all right now, Constable. The bleeding has stopped and the wound looks good. You may have a mild concussion. You just need a good night's sleep. And tomorrow, your only worries will be a headache and an impressive bump.
Thanks.
That's a good enough reason to celebrate. Enough about crooks and thieves. From now on, you can start to enjoy your free cruise.
Inspector!
What?
A dark shadow. Upper deck, just now.
Go, let's have a look.
I'll join you.
Me too.
No, you stay here.
Do you want to make this an argument?
Robert, go to the Baroness and don't let her out of your sight. Zellner, you're coming to the port side. Doctor, you go to starboard. I'll start at the forecastle and work my way back to the 2 of you. Understood?
But
Baroness von Trebitz! Hello? Baroness von Trebitz? Open the door!
Dr. Gebhardt insisted on coming along, but now he doesn't seem to be sure if that was a good idea. All right, Doc. I'm off.
oh no, I'm not going on a manhunt all by myself. Are you okay? Maybe you had better take a rest, in case the blow was more severe.
I'm okay.
Zellner, up here!
Come on. I think it came from up there.
Sure, you just wanted to get a breath of fresh air. Zellner, look who we have here.
Well, if that's not our shadow.
And our stowaway.
Spent any time hiding in a trunk recently?
Me do nothing.
He claims to be part of the crew. Just wanted to get some fresh air.
Of course.
The Baroness won't open the door, sir.
Understood. Take him to the detention cell, Robert. You were right. There was a stowaway.
Yes, but he can't be the Raven. He's too young.
Right, but that doesn't mean that the Raven isn't lurking here as well.
What was that?
A shot!
It came from one of the cabins.
Oh no! Baroness von Trebitz? Baroness! Open the door!
Step aside, please.
We have a murder on our hands, gentlemen. Hurry, Zellner. The murderer still has to be nearby. There's practically no one on deck. Anyone who's outside is a suspect. This time, we'll get him. Zellner, are you okay?
Yes. Come on. We have to.
Zellner? Zellner! Murder!
Ah, you awake? Sleep well, did you?
I like to sleep late when I take a cruise.
While everyone else is hard at work.
Have you arrested anyone yet?
You mean besides the Arab?
He could hardly have committed the murder. You must have been with him when it happened.
We heard the shot on the forecastle. I locked our friend in the detention cell in the cargo hold, and then went up to assist Legrand. You were already sleeping the sleep of the just.
Any other suspects?
No. Seconds after the alarm went off, the decks were swarming with frightened passengers.
Yes. A clever way to stay incognito during the commotion.
But we still have our primary suspect, the Raven.
You really think he's returned?
Well, I think that no one knows as much about the Raven as Legrand.
But still, it all seems so incredible. I didn't pass out last night because of the blow to my head, did I?
Seems unlikely. Inspector Legrand thinks you were drugged.
But how? The champagne.
Who gave you the glass of champagne?
Captain de Conti.
Interesting.
It should be possible to find traces of the tranquilizer in the glass.
That is exactly what Legrand is trying to do.
Without a laboratory?
Oh, he's got a lab. His cabin is packed with all the latest forensic stuff. It's quite impressive what the inspector can do.
A competent man, no doubt, and surprisingly well prepared.
And diligent. He's been at it all night with his brushes and tinctures and glasses and everything, working like a man possessed. I wouldn't want to be the Raven now.
What's the state of play? How was the Baroness killed?
The Baroness was shot in the chest at close range. We'll know more once the doc finishes examining the body in the medical centre.
And no one saw anything suspicious?
No one saw a shadowy Raven leaving the Baroness's cabin, if that's what you mean. A lot of people heard the gunshot. Inspector Legrand wants to question the passengers again this morning, once they've all calmed down, and he's had a chance to examine the evidence.
I suppose that you and Legrand inspected the crime scene and the surroundings.
Of course. And we already hit the jackpot. The murder weapon.
Really? Where did you find it?
On the gangway. The gangway for boarding the ship folds up and hooks onto the hull when it's not being used. The murderer probably wanted to throw the gun into the sea. He casually dropped it overboard,
But it landed on the gangway.
Bad luck.
But Legrand and I were on the side deck right after the shot. There was no one there.
Maybe the murderer threw the gun away later. We recovered it in the early hours.
I think I'll look for Inspector Legrand now.
Do what you think's best.
You won't get rid of me. I'm here to stay, Constable Oliver.
Be that as it may, Inspector Legrand ordered me to guard the cargo hold with our special guest. That's fine by me. Inspector Legrand may be able to get by without sleep for days on end, but not me. It's not easy playing with the big boys, Constable Zellner.
No, it certainly isn't. An antique wooden globe. If Galileo hadn't asserted himself back then, this would be a flat disk now. The globe nicely shows that 4/5 of the Earth's surface is covered by water. Looking out the window, I'd call that an understatement. Curious. One can easily toss a gun into the sea from almost anywhere on the ship without being noticed. And yet, the murderer chose the one spot where it's not actually possible. The gangway is hard to miss. Why did the murderer drop the gun on the gangway? They must have noticed their mistake, even if their back was to the sea. So, why didn't they take the gun and throw it a few meters farther into the sea? I suppose the life jackets are stowed there, close to the railing, close at hand in case of emergency. I hope I don't find myself needing a life jacket. We were here yesterday when we heard the shot, and it was also here where Legrand caught our stowaway. The grate must be part of the ship's ventilation system. Nothing out of the ordinary. The grate shouldn't be so easy to open. Did the stowaway open it and we caught him in the act? No. The pipe is too narrow. He wouldn't fit in there. I guess the cover has been defective for a while. I could inform the captain that the grid has to be repaired, but if I start reporting all the problems on the ship, I'd have to shelve my murder investigation. This isn't a panoramic deck for visitors. There are pipes, steel cables, chains up here. You can smell the smoke from the funnel. I have no idea how the ship works, and I really don't care, as long as it stays afloat. A boat like this would also make a good hideout for a stowaway. Were the tarpaulins arranged like that on purpose so that no one could put them back in order once they get in? You can tell at a glance that everything is ship-shape with this boat. Why is there an axe hanging here? I suppose it's for chopping through ropes in the event that the lifeboats can't be lowered. Or they use it to enforce who's allowed on the boat and who's not. The ship's bridge. 2 men. One of them navigating. I get the impression that the officers keep things running. It seems like the captain concentrates on the passengers and the bar. I better let the men do their work. If one of them had detected something yesterday, he'd already have informed Legrand or the captain. There's dirt piled up in the corner. Down below where the passengers are, the ship is pretty clean. But the crew doesn't seem to care as much up here. It may not seem like it, but Constable Oliver is actually a very effective watchman.
What's going on?
The Raven just flew by.
What?
Or at least, he might as well have.
I wasn't asleep.
I understand. It was just a ruse. Any conclusions about our young stowaway?
He's a bit suspicious. Foreign and whatnot.
I see. Did he act suspiciously in any way?
No. The shot surprised him as much as it did me. Looked in on him earlier. Still seems to be asleep.
Covered with a blanket from head to toe?
Ah, he's still in there. I poked him.
May I go downstairs and have a couple of words with our guest?
No, you may not.
Come again?
Inspector Legrand wants to conduct all the interrogations himself.
I'm sure he'll understand if I form my own conclusions.
He ordered me to guard the door, and that's just what I'm gonna do.
How about a bit of individual initiative?
How about letting a man do his job? Or do you think you'd be better at it?
What do you think? What happened here last night?
The Raven broke into the Baroness's cabin, she surprised him, and he shot her.
What was he looking for in her cabin?
She was a rich woman.
Why did he lock the door?
Why not?
From inside? An impressive trick.
I'm not saying I know how he did it. I'm just saying that it was him.
Why didn't he leave a raven feather?
Are you serious? We'd have suspected him straight away.
But fortunately, we still did. Let's assume that the old raven really has returned and that he really is responsible for all this. Who is he? Or she?
Oh, could be anyone. No one's ever seen the Raven.
He could also be paying someone else to do his dirty work.
Well, of course. It's a fact that he used to work with partners. They even arrested some of his accomplices.
But no one could ever identify the Raven himself. Some claims that they didn't even know that they were working for him. Fascinating. He could have hired someone with financial difficulties to set off the alarm at a certain time without that person knowing why they were doing it.
The man Legrand shot back then, he was a famous safecracker. He could just as well have been a henchman.
Or the real Raven. There's probably no better cover for a big thief than acting like a small one. I don't want to keep you from your duties any longer.
Good idea.
The stowaway surely didn't sleep well last night in the cargo hold, although his cell is probably more comfortable than my cabin, and more spacious. I have to talk to the young fellow right away. If I want to get into the cargo hold, he won't let me. I wonder if this game is an advanced version of bocce. I'd really like to lie in the sun and take a nap, but I don't have time for that at the moment. No, Jacob, business before pleasure. Did Edison have any idea what would become of his invention? Big, soft towels. I could reserve a deck chair with it. No, better not. How wonderful. Sunshine and a blue sky above the Mediterranean Sea. It would be a perfect cruise day, if not for the murder. The ship must have been rebuilt at some point. I'm sure it didn't originally have such a modern glass roof. I guess our stowaway knocked me out. I guess our stowaway knocked... Whatever. Why? Looking at